All right. So we are recording our very special episode today. This is a live recording, and we are going to be talking about The Devil Wears Prada, specifically about the book. Talk about what we liked, what we didn't, what we could see in the movie, what we don't want to see in the movie. And I'm going to do a quick little kind of breakdown recap of the book for people who maybe read it a long time ago or people who haven't read it and they just want the tea of what the hell happened in the book and what we could potentially see in the movie. All right, so I'm going to get into it. Victoria, please feel free to chime in because I feel like because I was crashing out at every chapter, I may not remember everything.
I mean, I think we both were, so we might be in this together.
All right. So I'm just going to start. The book starts 10 years after Andy basically rage quits. Was it really a rage quit? I feel like it was a walk
Justifiable
off.
rage quit. Yeah.
It was like
Justifiable.
after she quit. So in the movie, do you remember, for those who've seen the movie but haven't read the book, in the movie where she basically leaves Miranda stranded without an assistant basically in Paris? That's pretty much how the first book ends. So the second book then picks up 10 years after that. And so now we have an older not Andy, Andrea. That's all. I don't know why that's like in my head right now. Anyway, so we have like an older Andrea who has like what I would define as like PTSD from like
Mhm.
working a really crappy job. Like I feel like like even though it's been 10 years, like she still thinks about this horrible job, which I'm like, is that realistic?
A little bit. I would say so. I would say so. I
Okay.
think
I need
I
to
think
age a couple more years.
The PTSD for her stems from how she left the job, because in the book she basically said F you to Miranda and walked out. So I think that's the part that the PTSD is stemming from more than the job itself.
Yeah, that's true. And basically you kind of see her like talk about just having PTSD from that experience. And then we learned, and this really like was my first crash out. We learned that Andy, and y'all remember her toxic ex who was not supportive of her career. He basically broke up with her in the book. He broke up with her, not the other way around. Like they got back together after the first book, just like in the movie where they got back together. And then when the second one happens, he breaks up with her because he's like, you know what? We have nothing in common, and I want to move to like Mississippi or whatever state it was to like be a teacher because he's a teacher, not a chef in the book. But so he breaks up with her, and then he basically like ghost her for a little bit, and she's just like kind of spiraling, and she's just like, oh, maybe he'll call, maybe he'll come back. Like we literally like we watch Andy like literally trying to get this toxic man back and like feeling bad for herself for like the a good like chapter or two. And like her other friend moved, so she's just kind of going through it. She lost, well, she lose her job? She quit her job. Now she lost her toxic boyfriend, which in my opinion was a win, but she didn't see it that way. She's trying to figure out what her next chapter is. So you get a little bit of like what happens before those 10 years, and then you get the little bit of and then the book mostly is like what happens after the 10 years. So you see her and Emily reconnect, and they launch their own magazine called The Plunge,
Plunge,
right?
yeah.
The Plunge, which was like a wedding magazine, which I
A
don't really
high
know how.
end a high-end wedding magazine, because
Sorry.
everyone wants to view it, but no one can afford it, and that's why it works.
Right.
Make it make
Yes.
sense, but, you know.
See, this is what I don't understand, because I feel like in the first book and also the first movie, Andy's whole thing was that she wanted to be a journalist and she didn't kind of want to be in this fashion world. So I'm like, why are we now running a fashion magazine?
Mhm. Right.
So
And
I
they
was
do
a little
address that, but barely.
N barely, like, I feel like this book felt like the writer just didn't know Andy anymore.
Yeah, it was like Andy had, after losing everything that she had in the first book slash movie, it felt like she just completely reinvented herself as this really awful person who just, like, it just wasn't the Andy that we know and love. And it was weird and it was awkward. And the whole storyline just was clunky and didn't make sense. And it just didn't, like, work well together. I don't
Yes.
know. There's just a lot of moving parts that just didn't move together.
Yeah. And speaking of that, we have to talk about her love interest for the book. And I don't know if this character is going to be in the movie. There have been reports that Andy is going to have a love interest in this film. I'm really hoping it's not the man that was in this book, but we shall see. But long story short, she finds herself getting married. So right before she gets married, she finds a letter in like her fiance's duffel bag or something. And in the letter, it's like from his mom. And she's just like, y'all shouldn't be together. I know you saw your ex when you were in Cabo or wherever he had his bachelorette. Like, I don't think you should be with Andrea basically because like y'all don't make sense together. She doesn't want him to be with like a woman who's like a working woman. Like the mom kind of wants him to be with like a woman that like is more like a homemaker, I would say. Would you
And
agree
someone
with
who
that?
comes from money. She also just
Oh yeah,
really
that part
wants her to
too.
come from money and, like, have this history because he has this history, but, like,
Yeah.
again,
He's
sh it
balling,
was
y'all.
yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
What's his name? Max?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I read this so long ago that I don't remember his name because I kind of
I feel
blocked
like his
out
name was like Max. It was
it
like
was
something
something like
like
that.
that, but
Yeah.
like her fiance, he's like he comes from a very wealthy family in New York, like old money kind of wealthy family. And I think the mom just didn't think Andy, who's this extremely independent woman, was the match for him, especially since she has humble origins. And that's something you kind of see is a point of contention throughout the book. But anyway, so she finds that note and she realizes like, oh, he saw his ex and like didn't tell me about it. And she kind of spirals about that and doesn't really say anything until after they're married,
Right, like,
which
she
is
finds the letter the morning of their wedding, has all of these feelings and goes, "He's not right for me, but it's okay, I can just divorce him later if I need to, and I'm gonna go through with the wedding." Make that make sense
yes.
too, because that's not Andy. That's not Andy.
It is not. Oh, another really unhinged moment in this book. The fact that when she walked down the aisle, she had to not only see her fiance, right? Which is
Mhm, mhm.
normal, whatever. But the fact that she had to see that man she hooked up with in Paris?
Yes, yes, I see the chat, Caitlin said, "It's giving mama's boy," and that is the most accurate thing that I have ever heard, yes. Absolutely. But yeah, so she had to see, oh, I don't remember his name. Christian? Is it Christian?
I Christian, yeah.
Yeah. So Christian was at the wedding. So she's walking down the aisle and she's like, well, this is awkward and I'm uncomfortable. And yet, with all of these things, she still goes through with the wedding. She goes through with the marriage. And then she starts acting weird and doesn't want to tell him why she's upset. So she's just being weird. She goes because she's worried about him having slept with his ex. She goes to get STDs tested. Like all of this
It's
behind
so
his back.
insane.
And behind his back, like, you just got married. Talk to him. Talk to him.
Yes, I want to talk about that for like 1 second because why is she getting an STD testing?
Right. Right.
Mean, girl, always get yourself checked. You never know. Like, I stand a woman who can get herself checked. But, like, the fact that you wanted to do that before asking him if he slept with his ex is like, there's no red flags there. There was no
Oh,
red flags.
there were tons of red flags. She just went, "Oh, nope, I don't see them. Walk away."
Yeah. And, I remember reading that part in the book and I was like, what is happening? Like, what? This is only like, what, a third of the way into the book.
Mhm. It's literally like chapter 3 or 4. It's so early
Yeah.
on that all of this craziness and this unhinged behavior is starting, and it really just sets the rest of the book up for
Yes.
failure in every possible way. But I do think we have to talk about the STD test results because
Yes.
ooh,
Yes.
ooh.
So I'm gonna like recreate the conversation. I'm gonna do like a
Yes, I
little
love this.
dramatic version of the events. So
Perfect.
basically, y'all, this is how it happened, right? Basically, Andy was on the phone, right? And the doctor called, well, I guess the doctor called Andy and he was like, so, we checked chlamydia, gonorrhea, HIV, and none of those were positives. And she's like, oh my God, thank God. Like, thank God I don't have an STD. He's like, but something did come back positive. As if this book needed another plot twist. The doctor goes, congratulations, you're having a baby.
And we already know his mom is not going to support this because he doesn't support her or she doesn't support her. And so now she's having a baby with a man that she doesn't want to be with because she thinks that he cheated on her. The mother doesn't want any part of this and she doesn't tell him. She doesn't tell him. For like what,
Yeah.
3 chapters? She does not
Yeah,
tell
she tells
him.
other people, but she doesn't tell him.
Yes.
Because I think
It's
she told
it's
Emily.
yeah, it's literally insane. Insane. And it feels like the character that we know and love just vanished from the
Yeah.
face of the earth and we got this weird robot replacement that didn't know how to have conversations, didn't learn or grow at all from her time working under Miranda, and we know that that's not the case from the
In
movie.
10 years.
Yeah, like it's insane how much regression was happening in this book.
Yeah, for real. I feel like this Andy and like book one, movie one, they would not get along.
No, no.
They would not
Mm-mm.
get along. But just to go to the next part of the plot. So now she basically finally finds the courage, all right, to like finally tell this man that she's pregante. And he's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And he's already starting to think, like, oh, well, I guess that means like you can't work, like you're going to be home with the kid. And they have this, like, I don't know if you remember this detail. For some reason, it stuck out to me because I thought it was weird. He had like a weird obsession with wanting his daughter to have blonde hair,
Yeah, yeah. Like,
even though both of them are brunettes.
yeah,
And that was like a point in the book that kept coming up, and I thought that was weird.
it was very weird. It was also like the way in which he harped on very specific details of things that didn't matter throughout everything was
Yes,
just strange. Like I
that's a man.
understand. Yes, I understand harping on details for sure. I get it. But like it was just odd and it makes me question so much because we needed to know his backstory more than we needed this version of the book.
Yeah.
But I digress.
I can't watch Andy be with another toxic man. Dear God, please answer. I know you don't answer any of my other prayers, but this one, please do not let Andy be with another toxic man. I don't think women need to see that in 2026. We don't need to
Honestly,
see that.
honestly, I feel like my girl Anne Hathaway was not going to let that happen. Okay. And I'm holding on to that hope because that is not what she would want for Andy. And she did have a say in this. And so I'm hoping because the movie is not based on the book, it is inspired by parts of the book. So I'm just hoping that it's
Yeah.
inspired by the few good parts that there were in this book. The very, very few and far between redeemable
I'm
aspects
trying to
of it.
figure out what was the good.
Um,
Well, I guess let's
we'll
keep
get there.
moving with the
Yeah.
plot and maybe it'll come back to me. So basically, he's over here, preparing to have a kid. Meanwhile, in the back burner, Emily and Andy get a call from someone that works for Miranda. I will say, Miranda's not in this book a lot, which is one of the biggest complaints that I saw in the reviews. And I looked at reviews that were specifically dated when this book came out. And one of the biggest complaints that I saw is that people were not happy with the fact that Miranda was barely in this. But Miranda's basically wanting to get in contact with Emily and Andy because she would like to basically purchase their magazine, right?
Yeah, so she wants to be the behind the scenes
Cre-
of the plunge
yeah.
moving forward so that she can have creative say over how it's moving forward. But Andy and Emily would actually stay on and still work for Miranda at that point. Yeah, very big air
Stay
quotes.
on.
Very big air quotes around that. But that's kind of the point of her wanting to absorb the plunge.
Yeah, and they would get a lot of money also in return
So much money.
for selling, the magazine. So, from Emily's perspective, from Andy's husband's perspective, they're looking at this as like, "Oh, this is a really good deal." Like, you are still gonna be there, like, in control of things, and she's just, like, gonna be Miranda's gonna be supposedly off in this
hmm
distance giving you a lot of money for this magazine, which if you know Miranda, like, let's be for real, that's not happening. I feel like the book didn't really make her motivation clear of why she wanted the plunge. It feels like it was kind
Mm-mm.
of for vindictive reasons.
Well, and there's also so there's one piece that I wanna go back to, but I feel like for Miranda, she pretends in the book like she doesn't remember either Emily or Andy, which I think is
Which is
her
in the
way.
trailer.
Yeah,
That's in
yeah,
the trailer. That's
yeah,
something they have
so
in the trailer for the new
but
one.
I think that that is her way of being like, "Oh, the past is in the past. I don't really care about that. I want this because it's gonna be a good, like, thing for me, and you both don't matter." But I do wanna go back to something because you did mention how, Max, I think is what we decided his name was,
Mhm.
the husband, like, is encouraging this. He actually helped to create the plunge, so he is a financial backer for the plunge. So he is
Right.
priority shareholder for the plunge and owns 51% of it. That is an important plot point that comes up later, and so I wanted to make sure everyone listening knows that that's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, I feel really bad for when you guys figure out why that detail is important
Oh.
because when I tell you I almost threw my freaking Kindle across the room.
I was ugh,
Ah!
I was listening to it and I had to go back and I was like, "I must have misheard this." I did not. Just wait, y'all. Just wait.
Just wait till we get there. Wait till we get there. Anyway, so basically, once Miranda and her team give the proposal of like, we want to buy you guys, we want to give you this money and do this, that. Andy kind of like stews on it for a little bit, and she's very much not wanting to do the deal. She doesn't trust Miranda, which, like, yeah, the only time in the book she actually made sense.
Correct. Correct.
But she is struggling to tell her husband and Emily that she's not interested in selling the magazine, and
Mhm.
she's kind of doing a lot of beating around the bush and avoiding the
And
topic.
And to be fair, it's because she did tell them both no at first, but neither one of them would let her say no. So they kept going, "We'll just wait until this happens. We'll just wait until this happens.
Yes,
We need to see what the contract says." And they get the contract and it's, "Oh, well, you're pregnant. And so you can't make that decision right now." And so it just kept getting prolonged, which is why the book was so ungodly long, too, because it was like every
longer than it needs
decision
to be.
just got pushed to the end. But that was all happening at the same time as her trying to internally figure out, like, I know this isn't for me, but how do I tell them that? Because every time she tried, she was told, "No, just give it more time."
Yes, exactly. And I think that's why the book felt way too long, longer than it needed to be at times. But um I'm trying to remember what happened, like all of the different things that was going on while I guess she was just dealing with being pregnant and just finding any excuse under the sun to prolong the conversation.
It started with she didn't wanna have the meeting with Miranda, and so she was pushing off the meeting with
Yes, so she
Miranda.
pushed that off. Mhm.
Then they had the meeting with Miranda, they get the contract and everything. Then she was like, "Well, Miranda doesn't know that I'm pregnant." They run into Miranda, Miranda finds out that she's pregnant, and Miranda was nice, sweet, dare I say, and actually cared. So then they were able to push it off even more. Baby comes, guess what? Now we need to push it back even farther. And so it was just like a constant stream of, oh, but wait.
We forgot another unhinged plot point. Another unhinged plot point. I need,
There's
like, a
so
sign
many.
that's like, "Another unhinged plot point."
We
But
need like a little
the
button.
part literally the part in the story when, she goes to that class, I'm forgetting what the class was
The cooking
for, and
class.
she the
The
not the cooking class. The one with the with I don't wanna I'm trying not to spoil this part too early, but the class with the girl who was cheating on her boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a mommy and me, like, kind of
Yes.
class. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, okay. So,
Yeah.
basically, yo, y'all, this is some tea.
Wild.
This
It's
is some
literally
piping
wild.
this is some piping hot tea. So, basically, after Andy has the baby, right, she starts going to these mommy and me classes,
Mhm.
and she meets this woman, I wanna say I don't remember her name. These
I
people
d
let's
Here's
call
the
her
thing. I don't remember her name because I didn't think she was gonna be relevant until she was
I didn't
relevant.
either.
Like, she was just like a little side character, and then she
But
suddenly had this major plot point. Whew!
when she became relevant,
She became relevant, okay?
man, I should have been paying attention to you.
Correct. I was like, "Did I miss things in this? Like, why is she suddenly so" Oh, that's why.
Yes. So basically, Andy's connecting with this girl in her mommy and me class, and this girl's like venting to Andy about how
And
she has this really great.
she's not a mom. She's not a mom.
Yes, why the hell was she in those classes?
She was like a babysitter or something. I don't know. I don't remember specifics, but she was not a mom, but she was in a mommy and me class.
Listen, this book, it's just you gotta roll with the punches. so so basically, the she connects with this girl in this class, and the girl tells her she has this boyfriend, and she's like saying he's great and all this that, and his name was Xander.
Mhm.
Now, at the same time, she's, like, saying how she be cheating with this other man
On Xander with someone else.
on Xander with someone else. Should we drop the bomb? Should we drop the bomb?
Guys, guys, guys. Xander is Alexander, Andrea's ex.
Yes, who is his name is Nate in the movie, they did
Yeah,
change his name in
yes,
the
yes.
movie, but basically, just to give movie context, okay? Imagine Andy going to a mommy and me class, right? Connecting with someone in that class who vents to her about this boyfriend that she loves, and she is cheating on this man, right? Come to find out, the boyfriend she's cheating on is Andy's ex,
And
Nate.
and and the worst part of all of this was Andy was sitting there supporting her cheating. Supporting her, telling her it's okay, these things happen. Literally there for her to say you're doing the right thing because no one's going to
Yeah.
get hurt. Again, Andy is hated in this book, okay? I don't understand. I don't know what happened, but she is not a good person in this book. And someone in the chat did say, "Oh my god, is Andy the villain?" I think every character in this book was the villain, but yeah, Andy's
Everyone.
really not the hero, let me tell you.
Yeah, pretty much everyone is a villain. I'm trying to think. Maybe the
Yeah, I
fetus
think
wasn't a
yeah,
villain.
yeah, the baby might be the only innocent person in the whole
That
book.
yeah. Listen,
And that's not even the most unhinged part.
it's
There's
not
so
even.
much
There is
worse.
still right. There is still some more unhinged plot
Mhm.
points.
But
Like
but I think what's important to share about that unhinged plot point is the way that she finds out that Xander and Alexander slash Alex are the same is because they go to like a mommy and me plus daddy like event and they're all at this girl's house and here comes the girl that we don't remember and Xander and they reconnect and then she's like, "Oh my god, do I tell him? Do I not tell him? What do I do? I don't know what to do. How do I handle this?" It's insane. It's literally so unhinged.
now, I need to know if that was you, right? And you made a new friend, and you found out your friend was dating your ex and cheating on your ex. Would you tell your ex that his current girlfriend is cheating on him. I'm cheating on, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Would you tell
one
him?
one, it's a really hard situation, and I do want to say that, right? I think that it ultimately depends on what your connection is with your ex. For Andy, she wanted to be with him still. So, of course, she should have immediately told him what was going on because her alliance, her allegiance was with her ex, not her new friend. I think it just depends on who, like, you're closer with in that moment. If you're closer with that friend, you go to that friend and you go, "This is not okay. You are being problematic and you need to stop," and tell him or I will. Because I think that is the way to have girl code, right? But she didn't care about girl code. She cared about getting back with Xander. And so it's just such a wild it's a wild, wild thing.
Yeah. Us Someone in the chat said, "Depends on how the ex and I left off." Ooh,
Exactly. Exactly.
listen, good point.
Yep.
So, just to get back to the plot, which we have lost, but so did the book.
I was gonna say, was there a plot in the book? I don't really know at this point.
Listen, for real, right? So, basically, all of this is happening, right? And then I'm trying to remember what led up to the big betrayal.
So they got the final, like, you need to sign this contract or we walk. So she kept pushing it off, she kept pushing it off, she kept pushing it off. They had even run into Miranda, like, out in public a couple of times, kept pushing it off. They were invited to her house, kept pushing it off. All of these things were happening, and Andy just kept saying, like, oh, we'll decide later, we'll decide later. So she goes and calls Emily, and Emily is like, "Oh, I'm not home," but, like, whatever they were talking about, she had a solution for it, but Andy had to go and physically drop something off to her. So, instead of sending a courier, which is what Emily asked her to do, and it was something for the plunge, she asked her to send a
Wait, wait,
courier.
wait, wait. Before you even get to that, there was a
Yeah,
reason why Emily asked her to just send it because
yeah.
Emily lied to Andy and told Andy that she wasn't in town.
Yeah. So then Andy is home alone with her and her daughter. She goes, "You know what? Let's just go for a nice walk to Aunt Emily's instead of sending the courier." So they go, they walk over. Now, Emily and her man are both supposed to not be there. So she knocks anyway, whatever. She hears people inside and keeps going until someone opens the door. She goes inside. There they all are. And you know who else is there? Her husband, because her husband also lied about where he was, because these three are shady mothers.
And guess what they were doing, y'all? While they were lying to Andy, they were signing all the paperwork to give off the magazine that Emily and Andy owned to Miranda and her goons.
And not forging a signature, because remember what we said, Max is the priority shareholder, the majority shareholder. And so Max just signed it away and said, "I'm making this decision for us and our family." Excuse me? This is not 1900s, okay? You don't get to make that decision. She has a voice. What the heck? So obviously, this leads to a whole uproar between all three of them and Andy, because Andy has now been
Mhm.
betrayed by all three of the people that she is supposed to be able to rely on, that she trusts more than anyone in the world. It's
So
literally
now
insane.
it is. It is. And now let's talk about the fallout and the aftermath of this great betrayal of her getting her own company ripped away from her.
Mhm.
So obviously, Andy decides, you know what? Probably should get divorced.
Oh, like
You
I should
know,
have done to begin with. Never married you, but it's fine.
I should get divorced. So she does that. And we learned that Emily actually got fired pretty much soon after they
Like
sold
right
off the
away. Yeah.
plunge. Yeah, she got fired. So basically, if
Which
Andy had stayed, she would have got fired too.
Which is what Andy told her was gonna happen, and she's like, "No, no, no." Emily was like, "No, no, no, she's not gonna do that. Miranda won't do that to us."
Delulu, Emily kept trying to get in contact with Andy after betraying her like that. It's like, you betrayed your best friend because they're like best friends.
Yeah.
Like they reconnect and become best friends. And I'm just like, you betrayed your best friend with her husband behind her back.
All
Like,
for
why would she
money.
ever wanna yeah, why would she
All
wanna
for
talk
money.
to you?
Mhm. And, like, the way that Emily's getting in contact with her is, like, sending her emails, updating her on her life. So she sends out, like, newsletters of her
Yeah.
life, which is also just strange. But so she's sending these, like, newsletters of her life, and she's like, "Oh, here I am in all of these places, and we moved to California." And Andy, I will say, this is one of those redeeming moments for me. Andy ends up being the bigger person at the end and sending Emily an email to tell her that she basically hopes that she's happy. And I think that is one of those moments that was a little bit redeemable, that she was able to, like, be the bigger person, because throughout the whole book she wasn't being the bigger person. So, like, that
See,
moment.
I would say I agree with that 20%. I feel like it's because Andy's a clown.
Well, that is
There
also
was
true.
a there was a lot of clownery, there was a lot of circus vibes
Mhm.
in this book. Um, but yeah, I mean, I thought that was sweet for her to do. She could have said
I
kick rocks and she didn't, so I
Yeah,
guess
she
that's
should
rude.
have, but I do think that she forgave her more for herself than she did for Emily. Like,
Yes, I
so I think
agree.
that's the part that's redeemable for me, because she could have just continued to keep ignoring her, holding on to that grudge, but instead she was like, "You know what? This is who I knew she was anyway. We reconnected, but I'm gonna forgive her and move on from this." Because
Now, wait, because what?
because there's more that happens.
Yeah, that's what I say. And that's not the end of the book. That is not the end of the book. Now, granted, if they had ended it there, it would not be a happy ending, but the way the book ended still wasn't a happy ending in my point of view.
No.
I do think at the time that it was written, it would have been considered a happy ending. I don't think with a modern audience, a
Yeah.
modern reader, it would be considered a happy ending how the book ended. So, Victoria, do you want to go into how the book ended? Because I will have a crash out.
So we all know, we talked about this, that from the very beginning she wanted to be with Alex, which is Nate from the movie, again, for anyone who might just be joining us. So she wanted to be with Alex. Well, after all is said and done, I think it's been like a year since everything happened and her divorce was finalized.
Yeah.
Here they are, reconnecting, getting back together. The toxic ex has made a comeback, y'all. And it was not fun. Reading that, I was like, what is going on? My Andy from the movie would never.
I
Ugh,
know. I was so confused with that plot point. It
yes.
didn't make sense to me. I'm like, so now he's going to be a stepdad?
Yeah, it honestly felt to me like the author wrote this just so that there was a love story for Andy. Like,
Mm,
that she didn't just end with divorce, and that she had something like some potential love story coming in her future, because again, y'all, this is not the only book in the series. This is not the last one. There are more in this series.
yes.
I don't know how, I don't know why, and honestly, I don't care to know how or why, but I think that she was setting it up so that Andy still had someone, because even though The Devil Wears Prada, the book and the movie, not a romance, it's more of a workplace environment story. There
Yeah.
has to be that romance piece in order for things to sell back then. Now, not so much, but back then, I don't think it would have been as much of a success if there wasn't that love story piece. And so I think this was her way of, like,
Mm,
keeping that love story going from the first to the second, even though it was
yeah.
toxic.
Yeah. And I think, especially back then, I feel like a lot of romances, and I actually made a post about it today, unrelated to this, but I think we have given a lot of excuses and grace for toxic men
Sure have.
in yeah, in movies, in books, and I think, as times have changed that, we hold men to a different standard. So I think this book is very much like it's a product of its time. And I think with the movie, which is what we're going to get into next, I think they're really going to move away from the sequel book for the in terms of the plot. I think there'll be some things that
Mhm.
we could see from the book. Like for instance, like when Miranda in the trailer, Miranda's like always like forgetting who everyone is and that I mean, she did the same thing in the book.
Yeah.
And
I feel like
did you know the when she says, "That's all," that's from the book.
yeah, yeah.
That's literally
And
from the book.
I love that so much, and I really hope that they continue this in the second movie. But one of the things that we know for a fact is changing from book to movie is that she is working with Miranda and not Emily this time around. So that is a huge change, and so there is going to be so much that is different because the entire plot of the book was her and Emily working together and Miranda wanting to kind of like buy them out. The movie is Miranda and Emily fighting and Andy coming in to help Miranda. And so I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out because that seems so much more on brand than what this book was. Emily and Andy were never true friends, right? They were just people who occasionally got along as colleagues. And so for them
Mhm.
to have this like really great friendship, it felt wrong in the book. The part that felt right was her screwing her over, and
Yeah.
so I feel like the movie's gonna stay on brand to what we saw in the movie, whereas the book didn't stay on brand to pretty much anything.
Yeah. And just to quickly talk about, what the movie or what details we know about the movie so far. Basically, it's going to start with Miranda dealing with kind of, the collapse of traditional fashion magazines in this like digital age that we are. So I think they're trying to pull from kind of things that are relevant now. And basically, Miranda's really struggling with keeping Runway relevant and profitable. And Andy, I believe, is now this powerful executive, um, kind of person. And I think that's kind of why she gets pulled back into that sphere to kind of help Runway and Miranda kind of navigate this new digital age. So that's kind of where we see the movie like is where the plot is kind of gonna
Mhm.
go for the movie and how she gets back pulled into that sphere again. And there's gonna be a lot of cool cameos, some that got cut. And if you know, you know. And it seems like she's also gonna have some type of love interest. It hasn't been confirmed, but it's like sources have said that it.
You can see a new male figure on IMDb,
Yeah,
but there's no details until the movie
yeah,
comes out. So there's some assumptions
exactly.
being made. I will say too that
Yeah.
one of the things this is just a really exciting piece, especially as a plus size woman. Anne Hathaway made it very, very clear in this movie that
Hmm.
there would be no one who looked sickly being the models like in the movie. So all of the actresses playing the models are going to be people who are healthy. Doesn't matter what size they are, but she made sure because in the first movie it was not the case, right? There were people who were struggling with things. And so it set a bad tone back then, but it was what the vibe was back then. Anne Hathaway, being who she is, an amazing human being, has made it very clear that that is going to change this time around. And she wanted real people to portray the reality of what the modeling industry is actually like. So that is a huge selling point too, is that there's gonna be real representation.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm definitely excited to see. It's been what 20 years. I'm excited to see how they've adapted these characters, these storylines for the audience and where we are today. um yeah, I'm really sad for this movie.
Yeah. I have to say really quick, Caitlin in the chat really just got me because when you talked about a scene being cut, if you know, you know, she said her jeans that were given to her didn't make the cut. That is the funniest thing I've ever heard. And of course, she spelt it Genes, and I am dead. I love that so much, and it's so accurate. Oh, makes me so happy. But
Yeah,
what
I
else
I
can I
you know
say?
what's funny? I didn't even know about all of the different cameos for this
Hmm.
movie until I saw all of the recent news that have come out. But what are you most excited for to see in this movie?
Honestly, I'm just really excited to have the 2 of them back on the screen together because I love the chemistry that Anne Hathaway has with, oh my god, my brain is so fried after working all day, but I love their chemistry together. Meryl Streep, that's her name. How did I forget that? I don't know. But their chemistry is just amazing. Their banter feels more real than staged, and it just feels natural for them, even though they're actually really good friends in like together in real life. But I'm really excited to see them again. I'm really excited to see how Miranda's role kind of progresses, because I think she has to learn how to be nicer in order to have Andy's help, and so I'm really
Yeah, we'll
curious
see
to
about
see
that.
yeah, I'm really curious to see where she struggles with that and, like, how this dynamic plays out given the changes that are happening kind of to, Runway.
Do you know about the author at all and her background?
I don't know.
So the author of the book worked for Anna Wintour.
Oh,
Yeah, so this she was actually her personal assistant at Vogue in like the late 90s.
so this is kind of like
So,
her experience.
yes.
Interesting.
So what's really interesting is when the book came out and then when the movie came out, Anna Wintour was like kind of pissed. And there were fashion designers that were basically essentially getting, I mean, this is a big word, but blacklisted
Mhm.
if they wanted to work on this film. So to now have Anna Wintour part of the promotion for this second film is very interesting, and I wonder, what the dynamic between her and her former assistant, like, is like now, but that's because 'cause I'm nosy.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting, but I almost wonder if it's
Yeah.
like, well, even if this is like a based on a true story, right? Not everything's going to be the same, but even if this was based on a true story, I almost wonder if it was kind of something like, oh, well, it's 2026. This is how I'm going to be able to like continue to get my name out there, make more money, even if it's like harmful from the past.
Mhm.
It's 2026. Let's bring it forward and see what we can do with it. But that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it is, and I'm really curious if the writer of the book was, like, at any of the, what do you call it? The premieres, because
Hmm.
they did kind of a world tour of premieres, they just
Yeah.
had the one in New York. I'm very curious if she was a part like, what capacity she was a part of this movie,
Yeah. Well, now I'm going to have to do
you know?
research and figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, same. You know what? Let me look it up right now. Let's see if she was let's see if she was a part of this movie. Are
Yeah.
you guys curious? Because I am. Alright, let me look it up.
Feel like we have to know because we gotta spill the tea.
Right, alright, Imma spill the tea, y'all, get ready. Let's see. Okay, let's see. It says she was not involved in the sequel.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, they had new screenwriters and an original script. It's not a follow-up to the book. She was not the movie is they already confirmed that the movie is not following the plot
Mhm.
closely, which I'm like, that's interesting that that's the wording, closely, because that makes me think that to some extent it
I
could be.
think I think that they are taking bits and pieces of it, right? So, Emily
Mhm.
having a magazine, maybe she'll have the plunge, right? I don't know what her magazine is called, I don't know if they've announced that. I try to avoid spoilers as much as possible, so
No,
I
I think she's working in advertisement and not
okay,
necessarily having a magazine. I think that they changed her
okay.
career path.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe there's just bits and pieces that they're taking from the book, and that's why it's, like, not following it closely. But, like, we know that they won't have Andy be pregnant because Anne Hathaway's older than pregnancy age. And that's, like, not
She
something that you can
couldn't, but
really
it yeah.
yeah, so I don't
I
think
don't
that
see
they're
them
gonna do
doing that
that.
either.
No. So I am curious to see how much of what was taken fro like, how much of it will be taken from the books, and maybe even just a concept kind of flipped, right?
Yeah, and speaking of that, and I think this will be a great note to kind of wrap on, I did not ask Victoria if she wanted to do this, but I'm gonna ask her now live. No pressure to say yes or no. But Would you like to come back on an episode once the movie has dropped, once we both have seen the movie, and kind of talk about like our reaction to the movie and also, just comparing the book and the movie, what things actually did make it into the movie? Would you be interested in coming back for a conversation like that?
Duh, of course. The Devil Wears Prada is one of my all-time favorite movies, so getting to talk about the sequel, absolutely, let's do it.
Is that why you wore red today?
Yes, of course. Of course. I dressed the theme. I did that for the last one too. I tried to dress to the theme of the book that we're reading. I'm a themed
Oh my
girly.
god, I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
start doing that.
it's so fun to just be able to like dress the part. You should see me and my friends when we go see Broadway shows, okay? We dress the part every time. When I see Beetlejuice, black and white stripes, okay? So you'll start to notice that now.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on for this episode. We will keep you guys posted on our next episode once we both have time to watch the movie and kind of take it in, take our notes, and then come spiral on the internet with all of you strangers together. But thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you follow me at takeitfromhere.media on TikTok and Instagram. And Victoria, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, so on TikTok, I am at Another Fine Read, and on Instagram, I am at underscore Victoria Nicole with an H.
Yes. So thank you guys again so much for joining. We'll see you
Wait,
guys next time. Wait, hold
you
on. She's got
you
something to
ha-
say.
you have something to say.
What?
You have something to announce.
Oh my God. I am so sorry, y'all. I am scattered brain. It is one of those days, okay? It is
It
one of,
has been a week. Yes.
okay. I'm saying it's been a month.
Mhm.
It's been
Yeah.
a cute
Yeah.
little month, but
We're fine.
we will be. I forgot. This is the last thing. I am launching a Discord for all of us to be able to talk about, TV shows, books, movies, all it's like a little community for all of us to kind of share memes, spiral about certain things that we've seen. One of the big things that I'll be focusing on in May is the newest show that will be dropping that is also a book to screen adaptation on Amazon. Do you know what it's called, Victoria? Can you guess?
The campus series by Elle Kennedy. I'm
Yes.
so excited for that.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a big focus in May, and there'll be a separate kind of, I don't know what to call it, like chat, that's
Mhm.
dedicated to that. What would you compare Off Campus to, just to give people an idea of like what that show?
So I have not read that particular series, but the other series that's tied to it, it is sports romance, um,
Yeah.
spicy series because they are keeping a lot of the sex scenes in it, and I don't really know how
Mhm.
that's going to translate, but they said they're not dropping any of the heat. And it is a college love series, but it is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Elle Kennedy is an amazing, amazing author, and she did have say in the series. So I'm hoping that this is going to go over really well so that more things by her will be made because she's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, she could have her own universe, basically. I mean, she already does. That's kind of like almost like Bridgerton, where it's like each season is a different character. And I think I could definitely see Amazon leaning into that, especially with, how big heated rivalry is, how
Mhm.
big Bridgerton is. I could see them wanting to kind of bring the best of both those worlds with this series. And I have a feeling this is going to get as big as the summer I turned pretty.
I think
I
so.
really do. I think so too. I'm calling it now. I have a feeling it's going to be big. But yeah, I will be making a separate kind of group in the Discord for that. I will make sure to link the Discord and I will also have it in my bio on all of my social media and also on my website as well. I'm not just letting women in, but it is going to be very girly. Okay? It's going to be very it girly. The gays and days are also welcome.
Absolutely.
Anyone who's a good vibe. Anyone who's a good vibe, anyone who's not toxic, it's going to be a good space for you. And I'm excited to be able to grow this platform in this way. And um, when we do our different book clubs, the Discord will be a part of that, and you guys can read along with us, and there'll be different prompts and things like that. So it's gonna be super exciting. So stay tuned for that. And Victoria, did you have any last thoughts? I think I've covered everything now.
No, just super excited and can't wait to see you all in the Discord.
Yeah. Bye, guys.